Port and starboard.
This is, that's Captain...
That's George W. Ruggles, Captain. That's his license underneath. That's his ninth year renewal underneath. Upper right is his tug towing out a bark. That's got a yard arm on her foremast, so that's the bark out of Slot Harbor. And the one underneath, that's his tug. That was watercolor, painted by his wife. She was an artist, his wife, and she watercolored that one. And then underneath, that's a schooner built in Oak Orchard Creek, down on the flats on the east side.
Really?
Yeah, they built about 6 or 7 of them down there. Yeah, yeah. And he went down there and he sailed for about 4 years. That's the boat they pulled out of water. It was 2 teams of oxen and cut her in half and lengthened her. 16 feet, 1 rod.
Yeah.
To get cargo space. He said she wasn't worth a damn. Couldn't make any money. they put I gotta go by my dad. They put a keel on the bottom of the keel that was there. It was about 12 by 16, the full length of the schooner. So she had a new start, all right. Hit the big timber. Then he got into this canoe business. Sailing decked over canoes. 60, he got the patents on him. I got the patents. 16 feet by 30 inches beam and 12 inches depth amidship. And then decked over in the cockpit is about 4 inches deep where the centerboard went in, and the sliding hiking board is over that cockpit, and they could use that lip there to push with their feet to slide out. And such. And he was the founder with another fellow with the Rochester Canoe Club. And then they went up and they got going with the American Canoe Club, which was in existence, but they pepped it up. They got it going. That's all I can say. The fellow's name was Harris, and then there was Ruggles that got those 2 clubs. Down here in the bottom, that's the prototype for the snow blower that he invented to plow the tracks of the trolley lines. Not in the city so much, but out Rochester to Auburn, Rochester to Lockport, Rochester to Batavia. Went all the way up the line there. Spencerport, Rockport, Holly, Medina. But they were back in a little bit.
Yeah. Was that a patent model, or was that just
a... No, that's the patent model. That's what he took that to Washington to get his... Now, go back up
These
here.
Are the pictures here?
The big picture. I gave a mate to that to the Rochester New York State Transportation Museum East.
In Rush.
Rush.
Yeah.
You know where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that machine went to Montreal. And that machine today is in East Haven, Connecticut.
That was Ruggles?
It's Ruggles, yeah.
What about this canoe by Ruggles?
Same thing.
Yeah,
He had pens on that, pens on these canoes. His scope when he was sailing on that goes back to when he was on the H.M. Ballou, the schooner out of Oak Orchard. You reading the maker?
Yeah.
W. Ashmore, Day or Night,
Yeah.
London.
Yeah, London. Yeah. Now here's something you'd like again here.
Oh, it's yeah.
Before he made the canoes, he was making rental fishing boats for the boat liveries in Charlotte. Hotels had them on the beach, different things. And he built about 120 of these. And he got sick and tired of building one and taking the mold all apart to get the boat out, off, and then start rebuild the mold again. So he did this in solid pieces of wood he built up, and these grooves now are every 4 inches apart, 3/4 of an inch wide for the framing ribs, and they were lined with tin. So he'd bend the rib, get all the ribs back.
Steam bend.
Oh yeah.
Clamp them down.
Clamp them down on the ends, and actually there's a tail that comes down here, a ribbon that comes down here, and you fasten to that ribbon so that your hull is clear. And then we start with the planking, and the boat nails, the clinch nails, go through the plank, go through the rib, hit the tin, and turn over. An automatic clincher. You didn't have to reach inside and hit, or have somebody inside clinching for you.
And they never had to be clinched any more than that?
No, that was enough.
That was enough.
Yeah. And I suppose he had to get used to how much to tap it, how much, right, and so forth. And that patent was good until 1931 with Penny Inn Boat Company. It never was touched.
Yeah, when Penny Inn was making their canoes.
That's when they started in with the canoes and those, what do you call them, car top boats and things. Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah, you can remember them or heard of them. She was building at the Miller Boat Works in Charlotte, the foot of River Street. You want me to be elaborate with this, or are we taking you taking the voice?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was building Miller's.
Yep.
And 1926 that was launched. 94 feet long. She had twin gas engines.
Kerman?
No, come on back. Cleveland.
Okay.
They made gas engines, and then they built diesels.
The owner of that was?
That was Winifred Pembroke, and he owned Carborundum, the Carborundum Company in Rochester. Made ditto machines, ditto typing, ditto ink. Makes sense? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Cleveland, you say Cleveland engines. I'm not really familiar with it, but Cleveland, there were also Cleveland motorcycles back in the 20s.
I know there was. I guess they were pretty good too.
But was that the same company?
I wouldn't doubt it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they made diesels right up through to about 1960. That was my boat. That was the R-class slope. You watch my finger?
Yes, I am.
Huh?
I'm following you. Yeah.
Okay, and this is my first earlier boat. That was an 18-foot Seagull. I went across the lake in it.
Who built them?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, but they weren't anything you...
Is that you right there in the picture, Dwight? Is that you?
That's me in there, yeah. I'm in that
Another one too, yeah.
Can't see. This is the tug that wheel come from. This is the Nelfred. She was a New York Harbor tug. She originally was steam, coal-fired, and converted over at the beginning of World War II to diesel. And that went aground on. She's aground there at 9 Mile Point. Right? Yeah.
And that's when you retrieved the wheel.
Yeah. And then the one right above it, that's the first ship I was ever on. That's a Corps of Engineers suction dredge Taylor. Her headquarters was Cleveland, Ohio. I was on her for a season. And these two underneath here is Miller Boat Works. One is from... Where did I get my head out of the way?
That's okay.
This one's taken from the wall up by the lighthouse, looking down at the Miller Boat Works. This was taken from up on the swing bridge, looking back down at the Miller Boat Works. And,
Key locks, you worked on that, Dwight? Did you?
I was cabin boy on it.
Oh, you were cabin boy on that?
2 years, yeah. My dad would let me get out of school. Depression. I made more than my dad. He said, "You damn snot, you."
I need to put you in. What year were you born?
26. The old, that's the old cement boat with the old bridge, and there's the new bridge. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is Thunder Street Bridge, and that's the O'Rourke Bridge. You gotta help me out too, fellas.
Okay. Now, sailboat over here is...
There's the finest of the Great Lakes. That was built for Walter Todd by Hershaw of Bristol and designed by Sparkman and Stevens. That's the On Air. You should know her, Spike. On Air? Doesn't ring a bell with you?
No.
No, okay. 64 feet long. She was a beauty.
Sailed out of
Rochester
Yacht Club?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And now the big one here to the right is the key locks again, what we call full dress. Now if you look at the after deck, you'll see a horn up on the after deck.
Yes, yep.
So it's the music.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now she's got some covers, more top rail. There's more of an add-on to that. Was
she
not
was
permanent?
She was just launched over here in this other one.
Oh.
So that she wasn't
Didn't
quite
have a
finished.
mast and-
The mast and the awning, the canvas awnings, and the only thing here is the cabin house of the galley and the dining room. He wanted the dining room right on deck so he could see out. That dining room would seat 12 people.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How far did you end up traveling on that boat? Quite a
Anywhere
ways?
in Lake Ontario, and end up as far as Toledo, Ohio. That would be about 1928, 29.
Was life good working on a boat like that? Or hard work?
No, that was good work. I was a cabin boy. In the evening after dinner, as people were going to bed, they'd ring the bell up in the galley, and the cookies take it down to number 1 cabin, or number 2 cabin. One is this young man. And yes, ma'am, yes, can I help you? We want 2 Manhattans and a sandwich. I walked out cookie. There was no horns and no speaking tubes. Yeah. And you get a tip all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's my great grandmother and grandfather from Holly. He owned half of Holly. He built half of Holly. 2 churches, 3 or 4 of the buildings down in the square. They're gone now. That's
Yep.
Mrs. Ruggles, Ellen
Yep. Yes.
Bliss Ruggles. And she was an artist. He found her over here at Sandy Creek. He pulled her out of the creek. And they were married about 6 months later.
And this is their wedding, this
That's
is their
their
marriage certificate down there?
Yeah.
Now you brought this wheel back on a canoe, is that right, Dwight? Is that how that got back there?
Until the canoe went over.
Is that right?
And the 2 of us went over. He took the canoe, the other kid took the canoe, and I took the wheel. We kept pushing it to shore. Yeah. I don't want to refinish another one of those. They're terrible. Yeah, the short one there, that came out of Ogarton Creek. The 3rd house from the end up there at the T intersection. Come on, Spike.
Right there at
There's the T intersection. You go over the bank if you go through. That came off his Garwood. Seagull was her name. Seagal.
Seagal.
Seagal, yeah. Wasn't worth a damn. Didn't have a groove in it. You couldn't find out night from day where the hook was or anything. Yeah. See if you can see the name on it. Take it over to the light. Pick it up. Put your specs in.
John Bliss.
John D. Bliss.
New York? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what relative is that of yours?
He was related to the same guy here when he went east. No, he's a generation ahead. Came from a generation ahead. Yeah, he's in the Bliss line. See, we're all in the same line, yeah.
A lot of water tied into that line.
Yeah.
How about this bird's eye paddle up here? This,
That's one of Ruggles' specialties. He made that bird's eye paddle. He said, that's too good a piece of wood to ruin. Even that one there came off of, I sailed for John Heinrich on a 50-foot slope. She went to Bermuda. That clock went to Bermuda and back. Didn't win anything, no. Yeah, it's good. She's a good chimer. Okay.